If we've been living from the ego construct, we're not in soul. So it's like maybe you met your person and it was all soul and you're connected and it's like the honeymoon phase and you're like, who is this person? You meet them and time stops and you're like, I've never felt this before. And then all of a sudden you fall back into the ego to do all the healing, to become more aware of all your different bubbles that you've created from childhood. And then we're going to pop each one, which is what we do in my coaching program. We find each construct and we pop it and we deconstruct it. And then we pull back into soul. Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk all things life, love, spirituality, love attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. Something just blew off of my little meditation booth. Welcome back. We are here for our weekly energy reading. We're going to call in our guides. I have so much that I want to share and teach you all. So many things Spirit was calling me to share. So let's call in our guides. We're going to call in Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron. Please open sacred space. Please only allow the highest and whitest light messages to come through. Bless me. Bless my cards. Bless my beautiful viewers. It's a beautiful fall morning here, Friday morning. I went on an early sunrise drive with my Jeep top down and my hoodie up, feeling the breeze. I feel guided to start with, I want to say the Wild Unknown. Is that right? Yeah, the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal deck by Kim Krans. Let's see what the first message. Wow, that was fast. Okay, the camel. Somebody is feeling super dehydrated. When I get this card, I think about somebody who's like literally ready to leave a relationship. They're in a drought. They're thirsty for love. They're thirsty for connection. They're just exhausted on the journey, looking to replenish themselves. It's like they're looking for home. They're on a journey for home. They've been in the desert way too long. Okay. First message is all about relationships. Holy cow. Did you guys see that one? Okay, we have the whale card. So whales could signify maybe a connection between you two. Maybe you both really like whales. Maybe you are somebody who likes to go deep. Again, this is a creature, a soul who loves to go to the depths of who they are. And then they always come back up to the surface to share it with the world. So it's like, it's a traveling energy. Maybe somebody's going to be traveling to you, but they're willing to go deep, and they literally cannot be in a relationship where there's no depth. They need more. They're searching for more. It's the thirst. It's the quench. And it's so windy. I have to make sure I'm putting my cards kind of tucked in under my tray over here. I mean, the wind is amazing, but just talking out loud. And the few things that I wanted to teach in this reading, I know they're going to come out organically, but I just got off a client call with a lovely woman from Trinidad, and she's doing such an amazing job. And I just want to remind everybody that we don't have, sometimes, I shouldn't say that, I don't want it to be a belief system for you all, but there is a plethora of people out in the world that are here to support us. And we are not alone. It may feel like you're alone, but let's not tell ourselves that we're alone on this journey. Let's tell ourselves, man, we got another travel card. But let's tell ourselves that there is an abundance of love on this planet, and we might have lived a life where we felt so unsafe in the past, but that is not coming with us anymore. We are cutting that cord and we're saying, no, I'm choosing to live from the mindset of possibility and creativity instead of always reacting all the time. So what we uncovered on that call for her was that, her childhood was so hard and she went without love in so many different ways. And then family members were getting sick, and one would get sick and then they would get better, and then the other one would get sick. So it was like she never had peace ever. She never had safety. She never had calm. And then she met somebody and married them, and they were that stability, even though there was no connection. There was no depth to that partnership. But her ego, her sweet little inner self was so abandoned her whole life that she felt safe with this person, and she sacrificed maybe the connection. So a lot of times we are attracting situations and drawn to people, places, and things that are just soothing the mind or soothing the ego, the inner child in us that's suffering. And once we heal the inner child, now we can go on a new journey. We can embrace our stripes and be like, okay, I'm going to choose to believe in possibility, adventure, right? The third eye opens. There's this triangle, the upwards triangle represents the air sign, right? So there's this, actually in this deck, I don't believe it's the air sign. I don't believe it might be fire. But I think the air sign has a little line around it, has like a little circle around it or a line through it. Yeah, I think it's fire energy. But anyway, we're now believing that, all right, we're going to embrace our own stripes, and we're going to know that like we are the creators of our reality. We can walk forward in life knowing, okay, like whatever I'm thinking and feeling is what is going to drive my action. I'm no longer going to take my past and make that drive my action, right? If we didn't feel safe in the past, then we're going to look for safety somewhere else. So we're letting go of, okay, I'm no longer not safe in my life. I am whole. I am sovereign. I can create my reality from those thoughts. And when I create my reality from those thoughts, I start to see possibility more. I start to see opportunities and synchronicities and all these things that come about. So the zebra is all about embracing your stripes, moving on, going on an adventure, taking this new version of you with you, and letting go of the construct of your ego that was created in childhood. And then we have the snake card, which is also a mothering energy. This could also be a Kundalini awakening, Shakti energy moving up the spine. Um, this is very earth energy, very grounding. But if you can see, the snake is wrapping itself around, kind of like a mother energy, um, embracing you as you're transforming. So in order for you to step into this energy, we have to embrace our stripes, right? Well, you have to love yourself. You have to be okay with this rebirth. And something that I just told my client on our call was that when we are deconstructing the ego and our patterns, right? If you can imagine, um, the life most humans are living from patterns. They're just living from fear, not even aware of it. They're unconscious and they're taking action every day, whether it's overeating, numbing themselves, watching Netflix every night. They're living from fear. They don't see possibility in their life, so they're just on a pattern, right? Well, when we have the foundation, these pillars beneath us that are based in fear, it's an illusion. It's not real. It's not stable. So when we wipe that away, when we awaken and we start healing, we wipe away those pillars, and now there's nothing underneath us, right? So now we have to rely on ourselves. Now we have to rely on source and realize, wow, it's not scary. I was clinging to something that was false. I was clinging to a story that I needed coffee or this drug or this person or this job to keep me safe. But in reality, I'm safe on my own. So when we step into that wholeness, that, oh, I don't need anything underneath me, I am the pillar. I am this sovereign being. I have my connection above me, right? We no longer need that connection below us. We need to be connected to what's above us, what's guiding us in life, our intuition, our higher self. So when we're going on that, if you want to call it the zebra, a spiritual quest, and I think that's what it says in the book. That's why I was laughing, because I can't believe I remembered that. I think it said it in this book, I'm not sure, but you're going on you're living life in this new way without your pillars underneath you that you were clinging to from the past. And that's what the snake is saying. It's been a rebirth. You're removing all of those illusions, the things that you thought you needed. You're like, I don't need them anymore. And what happens when you're in this phase too is you start to like eat healthier. You start to meditate more. You're starting to want to connect with people who are like you. Your reality might start changing, where your job might start to get really icky, or you might start to see the darkness in other people, and they're not really dark. It's just you're elevating so much that you're seeing, wow, I'm not a match to that anymore. You know, I was in the gym yesterday, and I overheard two girls on the treadmill talking about, I think her ex-husband or something being dark. And I was just like, man, that's like throwing a little shade towards that person, you know? And we don't have to always see people as good or bad or light or dark. It's just we're no longer a match to that. So what we could say is, you know, the light switch turned off and we're not a match anymore. The lights are out, the electricity's gone, there's no more connection, there's no more need to grow in that partnership. Because everybody has their own wounding, right? Nobody's dark or light. Okay. We're going to use Micah Magic. You are awake now. Keep your light lit. Talk about light switch on. Tell them how you feel now. That's so funny. Spirit cracks me up. The light switch is on now. You can't turn it off, meaning your light switch to move forward in your life. Force spirit is here to bring momentum. Things are going to start to pick up pace. It's kind of like the zebra card. You're about to go on an adventure. The other day I wrote in my journal, oh, yes. Vacation card. The other day I wrote in my journal, Michelle travels, Michelle travels. It was like a channeled message. I just kept writing it over and over and over again. And I keep getting called to go to Maine. I don't know why, but I was looking to rent. I don't want to take my Jeep up there because it's just not been acting good lately. So I was thinking about renting a car and driving up to Maine. And then yesterday I was in my car going to Sprouts. I was going to a food store and the car next to me had a Maine license plate. I was like, that's kind of rare. I don't ever see Maine license plates in New Jersey. Very rare. Rainbows are a sign that your happy ending is coming soon. So I want to ask all of you right now, what would your happy ending look like? What do you think it is that would bring you joy? Maybe write that down or just have it in your mind right now. And then go into the feeling of what are you going to feel when you have it? What's it actually going to give you? Because right now, like I could give you all $1 million, right? And then I could say, oh, you got your $1 million. Now I'm going to lock you in this apartment and you can't do anything. You can't receive packages. You can't go anywhere. You can't see anybody. You know, obviously that's extreme restrictions, but you know, would you still say you wanted the $1 million if it's going to lock you into a room? And that's what money can do to people. It can start to show them all of their fears. They can then feel trapped and like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this money in 5 years. What am I going to do? So we think that money is going to, you know, make us feel a certain way or the relationship, but really think about what are you looking for, right? You know, if you get the money, is it because then you'll be free to kind of do more of what you want to do? Well, how about you start implementing that now? Start creating a way, start grooving a path in your psyche to believe that you already are free. You can access freedom within and realize, okay, now I'm just going to make a choice in every moment to set myself to more, you know, often set myself up to feel free. So whether that's, you know, leaving an environment that's unhealthy, let me just go take a drive and go somewhere else. Let me put this extra money in the bank so that it can grow and then maybe I can create more freedom for myself. But I believe that we have to go within and really ask ourselves, what would my dream life look like? What would my happy ending look like? And then what's the feeling it's going to give me? And then access the feeling now. Because a lot of times I've gotten manifestations and I didn't feel any different. It didn't bring me anything. And it was actually, it birthed a lot of fear in, oh no, I had this illusion that this thing would make me happier. And then I'm still depressed or not happy. Like that can send somebody into a deep depression. So we have to make sure that we are fully aware of why we're calling things in. What is the feeling that we're looking for? How can we access that feeling on our own? And then knowing that that thing can be taken from us and we're still grounded. Okay. And that's why it's important to feel it first. And that's actually how you manifest it is you feel it first and you allow your nervous system to attune to that vibration of it, right? And then all of a sudden the things can start to materialize and then you won't feel any different when you get it because you already are that person that has it. And you're like, okay, this is here and it's great, you know. Another exercise that I want to invite you guys to do is to journal why you do certain things. I was watching a podcast last night and there was a guy talking about how he woke up, he did this for 14 days. He journaled why he did everything he did. And at one morning, he woke up at 4:30 in the morning. I think he was either going to go back to bed or maybe he was just up and was going to meditate or something. But he went into the bathroom, brushed his teeth, and he saw his hair, and he's got longer hair, and he said his hair was a mess, and he immediately started to comb his hair. And he was asking himself, why am I combing my hair at 4:30 in the morning? I'm not going to see anybody. Why am I doing this? And it was this need to be perfect, this need to be accepted and to be good looking and to look a certain way. And then he changed his perspective and was just like, I'm not going to comb my hair right now. I'm going to resist the urge to think that I'm more valuable if I look a certain way. And he didn't do it. And he let his hair stay messy for the whole morning. And when it got time to go out, and he was like, you know what, I'm doing this for me because I want to feel put together. And that's why I always call it dolling up, because I went through that phase in my awakening. I let myself go. I never wore girly outfits. I never did my hair. I lived in sweatpants. I lived in hoodies. I put on weight. I stopped going to the gym for like 4 or 5 months. I went through a complete destruction of my ego and realized, why am I doing those things? I was doing it back then to be seen, to be valued, to be loved. So that all of that, the universe forced me to have to go without it all, to love myself at a heavier weight, not doing my hair, no makeup, just didn't, I honestly resisted it. I just didn't care. And people were like, is she okay? Like, what's going on with her? And I was going through my spiritual awakening and I knew that they weren't going to understand. So I didn't share it with them. But I put on a lot of weight and just lived in sweatpants for a couple months. And it was because I wanted to, because I was like, F that voice. I'm not doing anything for anybody to love me anymore. And then that birthed this new me where I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to look like, I don't want to wear sweatpants every single day. I want to have fun. Like, how can I go be creative with my clothing? And how can I, feel good in my body? And let me go back to the gym because I trained for, 29 years. No, even probably 30. No, it was probably 20 some years because I wasn't training like before 10 years old, but I was always an athlete. But I literally didn't work out for months. And that was so not my normal pattern. I was always active and in nature as a kid. So I was like, I kind of wanted to go back to it. So I had to rebuild the part of my ego that wanted to be healthy and wants to live a long life and wants to feel good about who I am and wants to be presentable to say, like, hey, I love myself and this is how I love myself. And maybe I can give you permission to love yourself. And then we have Mother Mary is here to guide you. So that was just a little message for you to ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? What is the premise behind it? What are you looking to get? If you're not looking to get anything and you're just doing it for you, high five. More power to you. That means you have transcended a lot of that ego and you're no longer looking outside of yourself for external validation or love, which is freedom. Now you know that you cannot do your hair or comb your hair, and either way, you're fine. But I believe the universe will put everybody through a situation like that, where if you are reliant on a certain activity, addiction, way of being, way of life, I believe the universe will strip it away from you at some point to show you that you are not those things. You are not defined by those things. You don't need those things to survive. You can be completely on your own without it. For an example, I've used this before. Like, say you're like a fitness guru and your lifestyle is your trainer and your body kind of defines you and everybody thinks you're so valuable because you look a certain way as a trainer. I've seen multiple women who are famous on Instagram as trainers, and all they do is they put out programs and they show their workouts. They work out in very, smaller clothing so you can see all of their body parts and how they're moving and how they shaped it. And I've seen two women go through deep spiritual awakenings where they lost their health. They got so sick that, their so-called amazing butts, and the whole rave these days with fitness is all about people's butts and getting butt implants and all that stuff, which is crazy to me. But they're putting such an emphasis on the body. But these trainers actually had these major health issues where the universe, I believe, was showing them, hey, you're still loved even if you don't look a certain way. Even if your community sees you in pain and sees you healing and growing, they still are here. They still love you. You don't need to keep up with this lifestyle thinking that your body has to be perfect every single day for you to have your business. And I believe the universe does that to all of us to some degree. It'll take what we are attached to show us we don't need to be attached to it. So destiny has a plan, let go of the need to know. Mother Mary is here to guide you. You don't need to know your next steps. You don't need to know your next path. Just keep trusting that when things are happening, I always say, let life happen and track your triggers. The more you track your triggers, the more you can understand what the universe is trying to show you and where you're not healed. It's so funny. I just got these 3 cards with my client. Your current energy is creating your future. Meditate, and your dream job is on the way. So if you want to create a new job for yourself, meditate, go for long walks, sit in meditation, lay in meditation, maybe meditate in the sauna, do a cold plunge, allow the thoughts to come to you, the new inspirations, the breadcrumbs, and maybe that's how you're going to call in this new job. I feel like I have a hair in my shirt. Sorry, guys. Nope, can't find it. Okay, let's do tarot. Stretch the leggies, drink break. I have my electrolyte drink, which I love, Elementi or Element. Wow, we have the dreamer. A new start, trust yourself, push your fears aside and take a leap of faith. This is the Fool card in the tarot. You're stepping into the unknown. You're leaving the familiar behind and walking into the unknown. And that even could be connected to new work. Okay, we have the Magician and the 5 of Cups. So instead of focusing on the negative, you are now knowing and realizing, shoot, I'm a creator. I can create anything. I'm going to manifest my way out of the situation. I'm going to start becoming the person that has the job. Like we said, your current energy is creating your future. So if you are in this energy, which is focusing on what's not working, it says focusing on the negative, things not turning out the way you anticipated, forgiveness of self or others. Everything happens for a reason. Look for the hidden blessings. So this is somebody like in an energy of like, why did that happen? I don't understand. I can't see a way out. It's a very mind-driven illusion. Like your mind is trying to fix everything. And once you let go and realize, oh, now I can create my future. Like I don't need to figure anything out. It's already laid out for me. I'm just becoming a match to it. You know, what do I want to create? What kind of job do I want to be in? What people do I want to attract? And it's a transition, right? Like you're not just all of a sudden, I mean, some people can, you can hop a timeline overnight and start attracting new people and new situations, but it's a process. You literally have to deconstruct, like I talked about those pillars. You're taking all of those shaky, it's like building a castle on building a sand castle. It's like you're building your foundation on sand. I'm sorry, I'm not even making sense. But you know what I'm saying. It's going to crumble eventually. When you wake up, you realize your entire life was built on the ego's structure of I need love, I need to be safe. And we start taking action. We grab jobs, we grab relationships based on that need. Then when we spiritually awaken, we realize, okay, that structure is not real. It's just the illusion from your childhood. It's just the story that you were telling yourself because of what you went through. And it was real, not negating your childhood. But once you become aware of it and you say, oh, I don't need to take that with me. I am a whole and sovereign being. I just had those experiences, but they're not who I am. I'm going to go back to the me that came to this planet as whole and sovereign and filled with possibility, and I'm a creator. I am the magician. Now, once I let go of all of those constructs that were built through childhood, right? All of those egoic personalities that were created looking for safety, thinking you're not worthy, feeling rejected. when you finally see, like, if you guys were to all write down, like, what do you think your top 5 ego constructs are? And a fly just totally flew by. What are your top 5 ego constructs? What do you believe most about yourself? For me, it's I'm not safe in the world because I grew up with parents that fought. I think when I was 5 or 6 years old, I went into school and told my teacher that my dad like broke the my dad was not violent at all, but he broke the screen door because he was fighting with my mom, or maybe they broke it. I don't really remember, but I was on the steps and it was right by the door and they were fighting and I couldn't stop it. And I was so scared that the next day in school, I went and told my teacher because I felt not safe. So from that moment forward, I am now Michelle. My identity, my ego construct is Michelle doesn't feel safe in the world. And there's a difference between literally being not safe, like maybe being about to be eaten by a bear or a lion or something, I don't know. Or, you're just in or hanging from a cliff. You're literally not safe in that situation, but I was just not feeling safe. So now my ego, my shaky foundation tells me everywhere I go, I'm not safe. So what am I doing? I'm looking for safety everywhere I go. And if my ego feels threatened, then I'm literally going to be on guard. I'm going to attack. I'm going to judge. I'm going to criticize. So it's all an illusion. I'm literally living in a bubble that was created from childhood of looking for safety, and I'm never going to find it. So it's like this loop that we're on, right? And that's why they're called patterns. So one of my ego constructs is Michelle doesn't feel safe in this world. Another one is I'm not worthy of being here. When my mom was pregnant with me, she did not want a fourth kid. Then she wanted me to be a boy. I ended up being a girl. So from the womb, I was rejected. I was not a soul, a spirit, an energy that was wanted from her energy, right? That's just from my mom. But to me, my mom is my caregiver. She's like God to me. She is the source of love, the source of safety. So again, I don't feel safe because my own mom doesn't want me. I feel rejected and I'm not worthy of being here because my own caregiver doesn't want me here. So now I'm telling myself I'm not allowed to be here. And what I didn't realize is that when I would sit in chairs, I would always pull my feet up onto the chair. I would never put my feet on the ground because I didn't feel worthy of being here. It was very unconscious behavior. So the more healing I did, the more awareness I found around this ego construct was I am safe. I am so worthy of being here. I'm a soul and I chose to be here. I came here to be here. Like I want to experience this. But the program that was created from that experience made me believe that I'm not worthy of being here. So I spent 40 some years thinking I'm not allowed to be here, hiding myself, sabotaging myself, binge eating, eating disorders, addicted to working out, like trying to prove myself, trying to be perfect, trying to get value or acceptance from people to prove that am I really allowed to be here? Is it okay? So those are just two of my ego constructs. I want you guys to figure out what are yours. What are you telling yourself? How have you been living your life believing something that's not even true about you? And how can you just totally dismantle it? Like it's almost like you pulled my ring just flipped off. You totally just pull yourself or pull the pillars out from underneath you. My ring literally just flew off. That is not a coincidence, you guys. You're releasing the constraints. I literally had a ring on this finger and it just flew off when I flew my finger. You're releasing the constraints of your ego. That was so beautiful. I'm so glad that that happened. I'm glad nobody was walking their dog below me because they would have gotten hit in the head with that. But imagine if you could just wipe away that entire belief system and now you're like, okay, I'm worthy of being here. I'm not rejected. I'm accepted. I'm loved. I'm whole. I'm happy. Now, what do I want to create? All of that doesn't matter anymore. The past does not matter. It does not determine my future anymore. So I really want you guys to do that work on yourselves. And that's the work I do in my 6-week group coaching program is I help people uncover what are their patterns? What are they triggered by? Whatever life is showing you is helping you find out what your ego constructs are. So if you are really intrigued by this conversation, book a session with me, join my coaching program. Spots are still open. Click the link in the comments. This is the work that we do. And guess what happens? When you wipe all of that clear, you literally start manifesting so many amazing things, and you start living life in a peaceful, calm, it just is so much more peaceful because you're not trying to feel safe. You're not trying to be seen. You're not needing anything from anybody. And to me, the most wonderful people to be around are the people that don't need anything from you. They're just there, and they want to listen and they want to hold space. 9 of Cups. This is the energy that you get when you do this work with me. It says, wishes come true, your dreams become reality, a magical time of life, good fortune, faith in the universe that all will be well. And the more I keep seeing this Aladdin card, the genie card, is you've been stuck wondering, why aren't my manifestations coming? What am I doing wrong, Michelle? I don't understand it. It's you've been living from the false illusion of your mind. It's it's a bubble you've been in that is not real. You're looking and yearning for a feeling, for a manifestation, to crave, to satisfy a craving that will never be satisfied because it's not real. Okay? You already are everything that you want. And your job is to pop the bubble, to dissolve everything that's been, your thought process for however many years. And now you're like, oh my gosh, I am safe. I am loved. I am received. I am abundant. Let's even talk about money, talk about abundance. Holy cow. Can you imagine like living in a construct of thinking that there's never enough, like living in lack your whole life and then realizing, oh, I created that story because of childhood. I grew up and there wasn't enough. But that's not who I was born to be. I was born to be a sovereign, abundant soul who can be a magician and manifest money from thin air, manifest my dream job. I can create anything. But I've been living in a bubble that's told me the opposite, that tells me it's hard, it's going to take forever, I'm never going to get it, and everything's just so difficult in my life because your childhood was so difficult. It's all false. That's not real. That was your experience, but that doesn't have to be your experience now. So just leave it in the past, leave the bubble floating there so you can always revisit it and be thankful for it. But then moving forward, you're in a whole new bubble of possibility. You have this little lamp that you can ask any day for anything. The genie can pop out, the universe can pop out, anything that you're looking to call in. Okay. Quick little break, recharge the battery. Okay. And right now, I'm listening to dogs barking. And I just was thinking, I am so blessed that I have manifested myself into an apartment where it's quiet and I don't have that experience. And I'm thinking about somebody else in another building. They're probably sitting in their apartment trying to work from home. And maybe their next door neighbor has a dog that's just barking incessantly, right? This is an example of the work we do in my program. If you were my client and that was happening to you, I would ask you, okay, why did we manifest this? Why are you in an environment that is chaotic and noisy and loud? It is a representation of the bubble that you grew up in, where maybe you felt like that was your normal, right? You grew up in that environment. So now, as an awakened adult, you're realizing that you're attracting the same situation over and over again because it's a cycle, it's a pattern. And even just something as simple as a dog barking around you incessantly a lot, if that is frustrating you, you have to say, okay, this is what it is. The dog is barking. I'm not going to sit here and be like, shut up, dog. I need quiet. I can't do this. No, you're going to be open and you're going to say, okay, universe, I see you. I see how I have manifested a similar situation because my nervous system is used to chaos. My nervous system is used to noise, but I want to pop that bubble right now. I want to get out of that reality. And I believe that you could stay in the apartment that you're in and pop the bubble and the dog will be quiet. The dog will disappear. The person will move. That's what happens when people start to do this work. Your reality shifts. Things just leave. And I've had it happen many times in my life where I've let go of old bubbles that I used to live in, old constructs, and then all of a sudden the people, I just don't see them anymore. Or the money shows up after it was so blocked for so long. So that's the beauty of this work. So thank you, dogs, for barking, for giving me a teaching topic. Okay, so we're going to do messages for money. What message do you all need to hear? I got my game socks on, my black and my white stripes. I'm not really a football person, but sometimes I like to wear my Eagles gear, represent Philly. Okay, imagine me always arriving. So this is you coming out of that lack energy and realizing that you are an abundant soul and money can flow to you in any moment at any time. And also surrendering to when it's coming, from who it's coming from. There's a lot of times where my clients will manifest money from people who they have friction with. And the lesson is, are you going to receive the gift from somebody who's hurt you, or from somebody who's, I don't know, maybe they don't have a good energy towards you. And a lot of times you can learn to say, no, thank you. Because if you don't want to receive that abundance from somebody who maybe is going to hold it over your head, you can gladly say, no, thank you, and trust that the universe will bring that money back around through somebody else. You can also accept the money and see it as the universe is working through that person to give you what you've been calling in. That happened to me once where I manifested $25,000 from somebody so unexpectedly. And it was from somebody I would have bet $1 million would never give me money. And they did. And I manifested it. And my mentor was like, Michelle, oh my gosh, you are really powerful that you can manifest money from the most least likely source. So I am you pushed out, right? We are all versions of each other. So if I can do that, then you can do that. But you have to be willing to accept it when it comes in a source that you weren't expecting it to come in at. I like to show up in magical ways. Seriously, I love these readings so much. Literally magical ways from people that you don't expect it, from thin air, from sources what you're just like, I don't even understand how this money could have arrived. And I've heard so many stories on YouTube and from people in my community of $600 showing up in their bank account and they don't know how it got there. It's literally straight magic, you guys. Okay, you are so lucky to have me. Never forget that. Put me where you can see me often to attract more. So, little fun fact, I did a couple of videos on feng shui. Maybe I'll link them here. Maybe it's just one video, I can't remember, but I've talked about money a bunch with feng shui, that you have a certain area in your home called the success zone. And if you put money or you put whatever you want to grow in your life, abundance, your business, however you want to, see success. To me, success is being peaceful and being happy and knowing that those things are always coming and happening. But I'm okay with the way my life is right now. I don't need more from life. But it is fun to receive more, right? So to me, that's success, is somebody who knows themselves, who knows that they're safe, who knows that they're abundant, they're always provided for, and they're just really bomb with healthy relationships and just enjoying food and beautiful flowers and nature. That to me is a successful life. But when you have a success zone in your house, you want to put items that represent everything I just said in that area, or whatever you define as success. Maybe you want to build a 6-figure or 7-figure business. Maybe put the words, I'm so grateful for my 7-figure business. Put it in your success zone of your house. Frame it, put a little gold around it, maybe put some dollar bills around it, $100 bills. But you want to put the money where you can see it in your home. You can also put money in front of a mirror, because it doubles it, it amplifies it. And remember, you are lucky to have me. Never forget that. Money is saying that to you. Be so grateful for every dollar that you have. Okay, let's shift gears and go down a different direction. I just dropped my entire Micah Magic deck, you guys. Bummer. Okay, and wow. So this was just like this. I'll hold it. So that's how it laid out on my, we're going to take both, twin flame, and your higher love is coming. And it will come at the end of the month. And then we have, it will come at the end of the month. That was on the other end of it. And then, sorry, another one. A message is coming through social media, text, or email. All right. We're going to shift gears. We're going to do my Gateway Oracle deck. Gateway Oracle deck. That one popped up. Starting fresh. This is also yin yang energy. A wonderful new beginning is blossoming in my life. To me, this is the twin flame energy. The light and the dark, the sun and the moon, opposites attract. The polarities coming together, masculine and feminine. It's a new start in love with the twin flame energy coming at the end of the month. Your higher love. All right, let's get some messages. If your twin flame or soulmate is on their way, what do they want to tell you? I left when I saw you with someone. Could have been a third party. I know that I crossed the line with you. So maybe when they saw you with somebody, they went and maybe retaliated. Maybe they were wounded and looking to hurt you back in a very wounded way, or maybe in an unconscious way. Sorry, I feel like I have a hair on me, stuck on my lip. So many things remind me of you. When two people are meant to be together, the universe will do everything in its power to bring those two together, meaning it will send them, that other person, a million signs. They'll see your name everywhere. They'll see you everywhere. They actually say when twins are getting closer to being together, that even like in fantasy land, when you're, being intimate with yourself, and you're, thinking about certain people or thinking about your twin, they say that like you can no longer think about anybody else, but you can only think about your person to arouse yourself. So a lot of times that happens right before they call it union or reunion, is you can only think about that person, that only that soul can activate you in the ways that, you're meant to be activated with your sexual energy. I love you unconditionally. I love you too. They're wanting to tell you that they love you. And that's because you've done the work to love yourself. You're now calling them in. And I keep seeing this one, I left you when I saw you with someone else. A lot of times that's meant to happen because it's meant to trigger the other person into healing that wound. Because we all have a fear of abandonment. We all have this another ego construct that once we get love, it will be taken from us. That could be from losing somebody close to you when you were younger. That could be a divorce happening in your reality. It could be the inconsistency of somebody loving you 1 minute and then not loving you the next minute. That's that same energy. That's that false construct that now you're going to manifest people who are kind of there, but then they're not. They're there and then they cheat on you, or they're there and they promise that they're always going to be there and then they leave you. So a lot of times we manifest those situations to actually become aware of that bubble that we're attracting and that we're living in from childhood, so we can pop the bubble, dissolve it, and we're no longer bound by that belief system that, oh, I have to live the rest of my life fearing somebody leaving me. And that's the work we do in my program, is we set you free so you don't ever have to fear that, and you'll never attract it ever again. You'll be so out of that even reality or realm of it even being possible that you'll only attract people who are being like you, being in integrity, honoring yourself, knowing that you're never going to leave yourself. You love yourself. So why would anybody else? And if the partnership is kind of like cleaning up and the light switches off, then it's just time to move on. And that part of you will be okay with it. I lost myself for a little while. Yeah. So a lot of times losing yourself, this card came out in my client call too. It's basically if we've been living from the ego construct, we're not in soul. So it's like maybe you met your person and it was all soul and you're connected, and it's like the honeymoon phase and you're like, who is this person? You meet them and time stops and you're like, I've never felt this before. And then all of a sudden you fall back into the ego to do all the healing, to become more aware of all your different bubbles that you've created from childhood. And then we're going to pop each one, which is what we do in my coaching program. We find each construct and we pop it and we deconstruct it. And then we pull back into soul again, into our heart and into our body. Speaking of heart. um, and, but before that, we were lost. I mean, nobody's ever really lost, but we are lost when we're looking for love, safety, and all of these different things in these bubbles that are just endless, bottomless pits where we never get satisfied. So that's being lost. If you can imagine somebody frantically looking for something and they're never going to find it, but they keep looking for it. It's almost like somebody in a dark room and, you know, somebody told them something was in the dark room and they're not turning on the light and they're just frantically searching for it, but the room's empty. They're looking for something that they're never going to get, and they're making it harder even by not turning the light on when the light switch is right there. So that's when a coach or a mentor or a guide comes in and turns the light switch on for you and it's like, hey, you're looking for something that doesn't exist. It's an illusion, right? So now we have to leave the room, pop the bubble, dissolve the construct, and go, oh, now I can be in soul, and now I can be the person that has the love, that feels safe in this world, and know that I'm always provided for with source. And that's the work that we do. Okay, I feel guided. This is gonna be the last card. My throat's starting to get a little raspy, and that's usually my cue that energy is good and we're complete. And they just said an animal. Actually, no, ever unfolding heart. Thank you. Yeah, unicorn. This unique creature reminds us to trust in something we can't see, feel, or touch. Have you been second guessing the universe? It's time to start believing again. And before I leave you guys, I'm going to share a really cool story. Sad, but cool. This happened to me where I guess it was like there was 3 or 4 days where I was just sleeping a lot. And I think I shared in one of my other videos that I had a dream of like I was out in nature and it was like Oklahoma. There was no trees. It was just flat land. And there was all these dark clouds and all these people were unconsciously walking into the dark clouds. It's almost like kind of like being drawn into the matrix and following all societal norms and all these different things. And I was over there going, no, don't go. Don't, you know, don't go into the cloud. The cloud's going to eat you. It's going to kill you. And it was like a chemical, right? It was like something in the air that was killing the people. And then I ended up curling up into fetal position and my body just started shaking like I was going through a healing. And it was like a dream, but also a vision. Like I was somewhat awake while it was happening. And I could feel the expansion in my chest. I just felt like this opening happening. And then 2 days ago, I'm on a walk at night around my complex. It's safe, it's well lit. There's people out walking their dogs, you know. So I have one AirPod in for safety just to know my surroundings. And I do 2 laps and I'm like, you know what? I just want to sit down here. It was like out at the front main office of like, see this building here. On the other side of it is the front parking lot where people come in to see if they want to live here. They park at the office, they go in, they take a tour. So nobody really parks there unless it's the working hours. So I'm sitting on the front stoop watching all these cars come into the complex, leave, come in and leave. And I'm like, why am I sitting here? And it was my spiritual gifts have just been enhanced. I think during that little like shaking phase of that vision the other night, I feel more connected. I feel like I'm really trusting. What did I do with that card? I put it down. I'm really trusting in the universe now. Even though I'm not really sure why I'm doing certain things, I'm trusting it. So my intuition said, sit on this front stoop. So I'm sitting there, it's dark, there's nobody walking by, there's cars pulling in and out. And I'm like, why am I sitting here when normally I'm walking? I could go sit in my apartment. And something just said, keep sitting here. I took out my AirPod, just kept sitting there. I was like, what am I waiting for? And all of a sudden, a car pulls up and it's a woman. She's getting out of her car and she lives in the building next to the office. So she parks there and she likes it because it's well lit and it's safe where her car is. And she gets out, and you know those people who have a very busy and manic mind, and they're not really aware of their surroundings. They just immediately blurt out whatever they were just thinking about. So she gets out of her car and she goes, "Isn't it so sad about London?" And I was just like, my first thought was, does she think I'm somebody else? I was like, I'm sorry. Are you confusing me with somebody else? And she goes, well, you live here, right? And I was just like, yeah, I'm just resting here on a walk. And I was like, I live in the back. And she's like, you didn't hear about the girl who lives across the street who took her own life? And I was like, no. And apparently a 15-year-old girl on like the second week of school hung herself, and she was being bullied. And it was a local school, the high school in my town. And they live across the street in the townhomes across the street. And there was a huge memorial with all these flowers. And I had driven by it once, but I was like, oh, wow, somebody must have passed away. Didn't connect the dots, didn't know it was this young girl. And, you know, she was a great gymnast, but she used to walk my neighbor's dog. So the woman I was talking to, she has the dog. And London, the young girl, used to walk across the street and come and walk the dog for my neighbor. And she did it for years. Well, this woman, literally, I give her like a full blown reading for like 40 minutes. She's crying, she's upset, she's telling me that, London took her own life, and she was texting her the day before, and London didn't want to go to school because she was being bullied on social media, and she just didn't want to do the school year anymore. And it was just, she's a sophomore going in her sophomore year in high school, and she was telling people that she didn't want to go. And her dad was kind of harsh, and was just kind of like pushing her to like grow and be like, it's okay, you're going to grow through this, everything's going to be fine. And I guess she wasn't feeling like they were really listening to her. So my neighbor was just, she had McDonald's in her hand, wasn't eating healthy, wasn't sleeping, was telling me all of this. And then London started to come through me. I could feel her on my right side, and I just started saying things. I didn't know what I was saying, and I was comforting her and letting her know that, London was saying that she chose to leave to bring awareness to bullying on social media. And she's saying that one of her fellow students is going to write a book about her in the future. So she was telling my neighbor, like, it's okay. Everything was meant to happen. I was meant to leave. I was meant to bring awareness to the treatment that we're giving our children in this world, and we're not giving them the attention that they need, or somebody's crying for help and nobody's doing anything. And she wanted to tell my neighbor that there was nothing she could have done to stop her from doing this, which my neighbor wasn't sleeping because she was thinking, she confided in me and I did everything I could. I told her dad, I told her mom, but the parents didn't take the next step to do anything about it. And she felt like it wasn't her space, to go to the school and say something. So she just kept counseling her and saying, it's okay. This year's going to be better. You'll be okay. I'll be here with you. You can text me anytime. So she was being like a second mom to her. And it was the most beautiful story. But I'm sharing this because sometimes we're led to do things that don't make sense. Like I was led at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. to sit on the front stoop in front of the main office. Didn't know why. I've lived here for 5 years and I've never done that before. And I was guided to do it. And all of a sudden now I'm reading this neighbor who's been suffering, dealing with this loss, and she needed those messages. I believe that London made me sat there so that I could give this woman that message. And it was super powerful. I couldn't even sleep that night because I had so much energy surging through me. And it's just so cool how when we get out of our own way and we let spirit move us, we're guided to the right people at the right time, fully trusting that everything is meant to be. Where the old Michelle, in my ego construct of not feeling safe, I would have never sat on that front stoop. Why? Because it's dark, it's late at night, and I wouldn't have felt safe in my body because I grew up not feeling safe, seeing harmful things happen. So because I popped that old ego construct, and now I live life knowing that I am safe wherever I am and I am protected. And I know my angels will move things for me if it is unsafe, right? Or that thing will avoid me. But I felt safe enough to sit there to follow my inner guidance system, and look what happened. I was able to bring those messages to that woman. That woman was able to hopefully get some sleep that night. And she even said, she goes, Michelle, you just brought me so much peace. And I've been struggling for 2 weeks, not understanding all of this. And London also came through and told her to not stop sharing her with every person that she meets, to share her, which goes back to when she was getting out of the car London was happy that she immediately started talking about London to me. It was like she was guided to say it. She didn't know why she was saying it, and she just started talking about her. But it's because she was thinking about her. They used to go get fast food together. She used to take her places because her dad was always late, working late. So it's like she was on her mind, so she ended up talking about her to me. So it's so beautiful how when we get out of this, what I teach in my coaching program, when I help you figure out how to get out of your fears, basically, and start living life through guidance, through being moved, through following the nudges, your life becomes so magical. And I can help you do that. So please click the link in the comments if you need help learning about what your ego has been telling you, what illusion have you been living from that is not even real, what dark room are you searching for things in and there's nothing in there. I can help you stop that endless search. Okay, so please click the link, book a one-on-one with me, book my group coaching program. I'm here to help you in any way I can because I just feel so guided because I know how much I've freed myself and I just want to help free you all. Thank you so much for listening this far. I hope you have a fabulous week. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and I will see you in the next one. All right, peace out.